Hey Epic Peoples, Epic Zora here, and I am here with another part to my Super Smash Bros. Unity tutorial. In the last one, it's been a while since I've done this, so I gotta refresh my memory. In the last one, we worked on the stage list and such like that, and now we're gonna be doing the character select screen again, but in a better way this time, instead of like just a basic one. But in this one, what we're going to focus on is the detecting what kind of controller I'm using, and then assigning me a player 1 or player 2. That is our goal for today. And in the next episode, I'm probably going to do loading up the actual game, where you actually have your characters on the stage and everything, and along with that I'll probably do the stage music and try to do that, but I'll probably do the actual loading of the game first, and then like controls, and then we'll be good from there, hopefully. Yeah, I hope so. Alright. Okay, so right now what I'm doing is I'm deleting everything that's in my input manager that I don't need, so like the horizontals, the jumps, the fires. I'm probably gonna end up having to make some of these again, just because it's necessary for Unity to do anything, or else it just won't allow me to test play the game or anything. So I'm probably gonna have to remake them, but I'm literally just going to be deleting all of these. But what we need to do is that we need to recreate all of these things that we did already with the GameCube. When we first set up the GameCube controller, we need to redo that all again, because we need to be able to detect which controller I'm using. Like, if I'm in the slot 1, it needs to be able to detect that I'm in slot 1, so that I won't be able to control both of the hands when you're able to choose your character. And so we gotta recreate all of that, and we gotta give them all new names and everything. You can just literally duplicate all of them and just change them to change one thing about them, like put like number 2 in the front of it for all the new duplicate ones that you've copied over and pasted. But when you do that, you have to make sure that the get access from number or whatever, get join number, it has to be the first one. I forgot to state this in the beginning, but like my scene is just compressed of like 3 pictures, and well, actually 4 pictures, or 6 if you really want to be there. But I have the whole green hexagon part, that's all one picture. I have the red hand, that's another image. The white boxes on the whatchamacallit, the places where the characters show up, those are 2 images. And then of course the places where the characters show up when you hover over them or select them, those are also images. And yeah, the only one that's able to do anything is the hand right now, because yeah, soon enough we'll be able to do the Ori and have him come up on there. But for now, I'm just gonna leave Ori just there in the question mark there. We're just gonna leave them there. They're not there. They're not important right now. Okay, now I'm finally done after 10 years, but now I'm just going to go through all the new ones that I've made, and I'm going to go to their join number and change their joystick numbers so it's not set to get all from all joystick numbers, or all joysticks, because in the original one, when we first did the GameCube controller tutorial, I said I left them all by the default, but if you do that, yeah, you're going to be able to control, everyone is going to be able to control the same thing, and so yeah, we don't want that. So we're going to change the, I named the GameCube Player 1 and GameCube Player 2. I'm going to change the ones that have Player 1 to Joystick 1, and I'm going to change the ones that have Player 2 to Joystick 2. And another weird thing to note, when I was testing this earlier, when I test played it and actually built the game, and actually like played it outside of Unity, when I stuck it in my GameCube controller, what am I saying, joystick? Whatchamacallit? The outlet that you plug your GameCube controller in, I plugged it into the first one. It has like a little groove on it that lets you know that it's like the first groove, the first one or slot or whatever, and it did not work for me, which was really weird. But I went to the one that had the 4 grooves for Player 4, and it did work. So yeah, keep that in mind. That's really weird. I don't understand why it does that, but yeah, sure, whatever, I guess. Unity, yay. Alright, after another whole 2 years, we're finally done with that, and we can finally go into Visual Studio, and we can finally do something with our lives. But, yeah, so I'm in this code, and I've named it Player 1 Detection, and I'm going to put this on an empty game object. When I first start up this scene, if I start up the scene, I'm going to have this empty game object come on, and then I'm gonna have it do the thing and allow me to detect which controller I'm using, who was player 1, and then when it's done, it'll stop and it'll do the same thing, and then it'll turn on the player 2 one, the player 2 detection, and whoever's player 2 situates themselves, and then they'll be able to figure out who's player 2, and then that code will stop, and then the code will load up for whatever controller that they're using. So yeah, that'll be cool, right? Alright, so while we're in here, let me just go ahead and explain the text that are the code that I have in here, so we can just get on with our day. I have 3 public floats. Of course, we have the left analog stick X and left analog stick Y. It's what we've been using. We have the hand speed. It's what we've been using. And we have the public player 1 hand and the player 1 icon. So the player 1 icon is the one that changes depending on what controller we are using. We're just using the GameCube controller for this one. And of course we have the player 1 hand, which is the actual hand. We have the sprites, the GameCube sprites, so we have like the actual GameCube sprite, and then I just write PC just for GP general purposes, because why not PC, sure, right there. And then we have an public game object, which is going to be called player 1. For the player 2 detection code, we can replace this one and call it player 2. But in the start function, I have it so that the player 1 gets the component. Player 1 would be since this script player one detection is going on a empty game object, we're gonna have this player one, the actual public game object player one, have all of our code that we'll needing, you know. But player one dot get component and GC is GameCube, of course. It's just another code. I'm pretty sure I've been using it, but either way, this whole scene and this whole project will be up on Google Drive for you to get on the description. But player one, which is the hand, I'm going to make the hand. Will have a code on it that's named GC GameCube, and then we're gonna have that by default be turned off, and we're gonna have the player hand. We're gonna have the player one hand and the player one icon turned off as well. So it doesn't matter that it's on in the actual editor when we're just messing around with it, but when we actually turn on the game, it'll be turned off. But yeah, the void update, everything's basically the same except if I move, except for some of the ifs. So if the left analog stick X, if I move any of that or whatever, the value changes, so like it tells me that I'm moving, then the player one hand will actually show up, and the icon will show up as well, but I'll immediately change the icon sprite, which is player one icon dot sprite equals GameCube. So like if I move with the GameCube controller, it'll move into that. And player one get component GameCube controller, or GameCube get component GC, that'll be turned on, so now you'll be able to move the hand with the GC code. And then you'll turn, then the last line of that code, this dot enabled equals false, and then it'll turn off this code, and this code will be rendered useless. Yeah, so it's only a one-time thing, and then it'll just be rendered useless, and you'll never see this again until you like reload the whole level. Yeah. But in this, what we really need to make sure we change is the line that's under void update. The left analog stick X equals input get axis, and then the name of the axis that we made, we need to change it to the player one version that we made for this. So I'm gonna put GameCube or GCP1 underscore left analog stick X, and do the same thing for left analog stick Y, and then it should be working for just the first player, and we'll be good to go. Okay, you see how I said that earlier that we're going to be needing to make the things again when I deleted them in the beginning? Yeah, it's not going to let you do anything while you're test playing it until you make those things again. So I'm just going to recreate them and just show you the ones that you actually just need. Okay, for this you can just duplicate any of the ones that you've done. You just need to duplicate them 4 times. You need to make one that's called submit, one that's called cancel, one that's called horizontal, and one that's called vertical. Okay, so now that we're back into Unity, I forgot to show off the player 1 detection. This is the empty game object, and I put the player 1 detection script on here. And as you can see, you can have left analog stick X, left analog stick Y. You have the hand speed, and you have the player 1 hand, which is, you know, the actual image, the player 1 hand image that I have in my hierarchy. It's a hard word to say right now. And then I also have the player 1 icon, which is also in my hierarchy. And then I have the GameCube image, the sprite. I have the sprite, which I just have a picture of a GameCube controller. And then I also have a PC, which yeah, I just put like a random picture in there. And then the player 1 is the game object, which is also the image, player 1 hand. So yeah, that's basically all that's to this. And then you could just duplicate this and just put this for player 2 and just, you know, copy and paste all of these things. You can just copy these and just rename them all to player 2, and then just fix the code up a little bit and you'll be good on your way. Okay, so now I have another code that's called player 1, or I can't speak. P2 detection. I have another code called P2 detection, and I'm literally just going to go into P1 detection and just copy everything that's in there and paste it into P2 detection and just change everything to like player 2. That's all you gotta do, and then you should be good to go. Make sure that in player 1 you set another you make another public game object, call that one P2. And so in P2, in the start of P2, you need to get the component of or you just need to set P2 to be false. P2.enabled equals false. And then whenever you move something or whatever and this is turned off or whatever, it has the this.enabled equals false. You need to put right before it. You need to put before it, because if you put it after this.enable equals false, then it won't ever code. It won't ever go. So you need to do right before this.enabled equals false. You need to put p2 .enabled equals true, so that that one will work out. But you don't need to do that for player 2, the P2 detection, because player 1's already gone. Oh yeah. Okay, so now I've done everything, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna be lazy real quick, and I'm just gonna go into Krita, Krita, and I'm just going to make a quick little coin icon. So like, you know, the things that the player or the hand holds and then like drops it on the player to select that character. I'm gonna make one of those. I'm gonna just be really quick about this so I can just like, you know, get back to this. Alright, so now I have my crappy little icons, and I put another image inside of there, and I put the player 1 icon that I made. I put that in there, but I'm gonna like call it like a little coin. So I put that in there, and I put that as a child of the P1 hand, because you know the P1 hand is going to be dragging it, and as it's moving, you need to have it move with it. So yeah. Okay, so I got everything that needed to be, but I also went ahead and just created a whole new script, and I just called it P1 GameCube, and this is going to be like the moving script instead of me just using the GC script that I talked about earlier. So I kind of just like, it's just a moving script. It just does the same thing as like the stage hand that we worked on the last time. It's literally just the same thing. You just move and you can just press A, and that's about it. But the whole different thing is just that the P1 coin is attached, is my child. That's basically it. You need to go back into your code and actually change the get component part where it had the GC in it, and change it to whatever your new script is if you decide to do that. If not, you can just edit GC if you really want to. But I just decided just to make a whole new script. Okay, so next thing that I did is that I went and in my player 1 hand, I made a child of the player 1 hand, and I made this panel. You can go and hit the UI one, and it should have an option for panel, and so I made that, and then I put the P1 coin inside the panel. So the P1 coin is the child of the panel, and the panel is the child of the P1 hand. Yeah, I think that made sense. I think I said that right. But yeah, what I didn't do in this, but that I did later on, you need to add for the panel, you need to make the opacity 0 so you can't see it at all. But you also need to make sure that you add a layout element to this, and it should be good from there. Okay, let me explain the final part of this. And I made another script called P1 Coin. I was gonna make another one called P1 2, but I got busy, and so things just didn't go that way. So yeah, we just got the P1 Coin, which is okay. But for P1 Coin, I put a public class or a public image, and I called it P1 Coin, and of course that's the actual little makeshift image that I made in Krita. And then I made a transform parent to return to. So when we let go of it, when we press A and let's like select our character, we wanted to remember where we came from, and so that if we don't want our selection anymore, we can just go back to where to the parent. Yeah, and so we set that equal to null, and then I put void star parent to return to equals this dot transform dot parent, which is exactly what we have in our editor, so that's all good and everything. But in the update, this is where things get different from the video, because later on I had experimented more with this, and then I changed a little bit of things. Well, not really, but kinda. But I put if the first part of this is the same. If input.getButton down, which is the GameCube or GCP1A button, then this dot transform dot set parent, this dot transform dot parent dot parent dot parent. That still holds true, but then I just put another thing that if input dot get button down, and if I hit the Y button this time, so I put GCP1Y button, then I would do this dot transform dot set parent parent to return to, parentheses parent to return to. I did Y because earlier I used B to be able to go back to the stage selection. So if I had used B again here, then I would just be you know, going back to the stage selection screen, so that's why I did this. But other than that, this should work out. And yeah, in the next one I should be try to load them up into an actual stage and doing controls and stage music. That should be the goal. Alright, until next time, stays epic.